Yo, what's up? We're here to ask more questions to college students at USF. What are we going to be asking today?
Health. I mean, is America healthy? Are people caring about their health? I mean, are people really taking that into account? And do they think government is the solution, or do they think individuals are the solution?
Let's find out.
So I'm here with
Maria. Hi.
All right. So Maria, would you say that you really take your health into account, or do you consider yourself a health conscious person?
Yes, I try to be healthy. I could definitely use some growth when it comes to eating habits,
Okay.
but yeah.
So what sorts of things would you say that you do, or that you say you could improve, that you already think about when it comes to eating, or just different, it could be exercise, different habits in general?
I think it's mainly about consistency, like what you do on the daily. I actually work in the health field right now,
okay.
and I guess specifically for women, I think a lot of women have a lot of body image issues, a lot of eating issues that come from just different expectations, whether it's social media, different things, and really I think our lives, it's more about lifestyle and just how you your mindset towards I'm kind of rambling, but your mindset towards especially related to women and body image issues, stuff like that. I think it's more about mindset and how you see who you are.
I see.
Okay, so I mean, you say you work in the health field. Have you you work with people in what capacity?
Yes, I actually work at one of the Tampa General hospitals. I do get to work with patients, not as much as I want to, but so I'm a receptionist. I help admit patients and talk with them. Did that answer your question?
Yeah, no, I mean, it was
what the question
right. No, it was more so to just ask about sort of because my question was going to be, would you consider America healthy?
Oh.
But since you interact with people, okay, you say no, but
No.
go ahead and answer that. Sure.
Yeah, I would not consider America healthy. Even with the patients that come in, a lot of them are older, and a lot of them have heart problems, or having all these issues related to, again, their lifestyle. So however you live your life, what you eat on the daily, how much you exercise on the daily, it really impacts you, especially towards the end of your life. So you can tell who of these patients have taken care of themselves on a consistent daily basis versus ones that haven't. If they smoked for a while, if they if they're obese, different things like that.
Well, do you have interactions with people who maybe aren't already at that point in life, maybe more recent generations, to kind of get a feel of what the average person is kind of like today?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm a pretty social person. I love talking with different people and interacting with people my age all the time. I think, again, I would say our generation is still not very healthy. I think it varies just based off of are you buying lots of food? If you go to Starbucks, a couple pumps of the syrup is like a lot of calories. So it really is about balance and also just being aware of what you're putting in your body.
Yeah.
Do you think because you're talking about quantity when you're talking about calories, do you think the quality has changed? Do you think that's impacting chronic disease today?
Great question. These are great questions, by the way. I wrote them. Yes, definitely. Okay. Yes, I definitely think so. And that is one thing that I guess I fear for our generation, is I feel the quality of food has decreased. I also think there's something to say about, a lot of foreigners, when they come to the US, they'll always say oh, the bread is terrible here, or oh, the quality of food is horrible here. And foods that we eat here are actually banned in Europe, So I think there's definitely a lot to say about quality of food and how it's not very good here.
Yeah, I mean, and what you're referring to there is the bleached and rich flour, where it's they put these synthetic vitamins and iron and all that in there.
Yeah.
I mean, and people say they can go to Europe, eat the bread, and they're fine.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's a huge difference between that. And I mean, I know you're in that sort of health space to know more about this, but I mean, it goes beyond just the quantity people are eating, because it's affecting our cells, our mitochondria, our metabolism, our thyroid. So all of that is definitely being impacted negatively, and that's just going to lead to more of this chronic disease than even just eating a few more calories or however many more. Wouldn't you agree?
I completely agree. I definitely think quality is more important than quantity, in my opinion, but then it's also intertwined. So yeah, I just ditto basically what
And I mean, even then, it's impacting the satiety as well, depending on the quality. So that's also something that could make people overeat at that point. But are you familiar with the Make America Healthy Again movement that's going around? I know that they're kind of expressing some of the same things that we are here, but it's more of a political thing than what we're talking about.
Okay, gotcha. I'm not familiar with it. I mean, I know that Michelle Obama had like a. Is it related to that with what?
So it's. Are you familiar with RFK Jr.?
No.
Okay, so basically they're talking about how like fryer oil used to be tallow instead of like vegetable oil, and like basically people used to be healthier in America, had a easier time staying thin than they are now, even given like caloric intake as a factor. So basically they're just talking about like the FDA has already put into effect a ban on synthetic dyes in food that's going to take effect. I think by 2026 all of them will be phased out, like all the petroleum based dyes. But do you think that, from a perspective of like the fix for this, do you think it's going to be something from government, or do you think individuals are the ones that are actually sort of more responsible or more able to do something proper for themselves?
Short answer, I don't know. Long answer, I guess it's both. I mean, I think it's both, because like we have to decide, like each person has to decide for themselves, like, hey, like what am I going to eat today? What am I going to do? That said, if someone does try to eat healthier, it can be more expensive, or like even if you're buying vegetables at the market, you put it in a plastic bag, you know what I'm saying? So it's like there's different things, and the vegetables that you're buying, the cheaper ones, are the ones that have been sprayed with pesticides and different chemicals. So I guess both, in that I think the government can help us, but then also it is each individual person's decision, like what they want to do.
The part I would say that I'm skeptical on, and I just want to hear your thoughts on this, is that when they decide we're going to ban something that's unhealthy, it could just be that they replace it with something even worse and we don't even know about it yet, like BPA. BPA had a whole thing against it where they were saying, okay, BPA is really bad for you, we're going to get rid of it. They replaced it with something called BPS, which is actually even worse for you. So people don't even know about that. Then they start saying, okay, well, I'm drinking out of this bottle, it's safe now. No, it's not. So, I mean, what are your thoughts on this, like, as a sort of top-down solution, maybe having some problems to it when it comes to if they do something like take some sort of action that's just unilateral, it could lead to worse effects?
Again, I don't know, because I don't know. I think it's difficult. I will say that. I guess it boils down to, if people that are like our age, if we want to make a change, then we have to, have people like really level up and step into those different places in court, in society, where we can make changes that, or appeal to people who do have more influence and power, who can help make the change more. I also think being educated is good. So that's honestly something I want to grow in more, is having more education. I didn't know that fact that you just stated about the BPA being changed to BPS. And so I think that's a level that we can like grow into as people, is just to be more educated about what we are putting into our bodies and what they're putting on stuff. So.
Nice to meet you, Maria. So would you say you're a health conscious person? Do you care about your health?
Yes, definitely. I do care about my health, yeah.
What sorts of things do you do? Like, is it a diet thing? Is it a habit thing, like exercise?
I've been inconsistent with the gym, but I'm trying to get back on habit. But I used to go to the gym. I used to watch my diet a lot. I do care a lot about like my weight, how I look, and also like health stuff, yeah.
Okay. What sort of health principles would you say you have? Like, what would you think of when you think healthy?
Like maybe exercising, keeping a very healthy diet, not too much fat, and like just balancing your meals, and like having a very balanced plate when you eat, and don't overeat, and don't eat at all.
Do you think about the quality of the food that you eat?
Of course, all the food has different qualities. I think like when you choose your food carefully, that would make so much more benefits for your diets and everything. So when you do that, you will like gain more from your diets. So definitely choose your food properly.
Okay. So what sorts of things would you say you look out for when it comes to that?
Definitely look out for your calories. Like if you're buying snacks, try to buy your snacks to be healthy. Like watch out the calories. Don't get stuff that has too much, like don't get too much processed food. Try to keep it on the more organic or on the healthy side.
Okay. So you do mention the calories, but you also mentioned the processed food. So the calories would be more of a quantity aspect of that. Right. The processed food would be more of a quality. So do you think when it comes to, let's say, obesity and chronic disease, which one would you say matters more? Or would you say there is even like a difference in which one matters more? I don't want to ask any leading questions or anything, but I just kind of want your perspective on that.
I think definitely when you're getting processed food, like it's okay to get processed food once in a while and like to include it in your diet, that's definitely okay. But overeating processed food, that will cause your health a lot of, going downhill. So definitely processed food is more of the fact that you're eating processed food is just not good. Yeah.
And so would you say that America overall is healthy?
Not really. I think you find a lot of people like not caring about their health and their diet, but there's a big variety of people that do watch out for their health and everything, but there's a lot of people that just don't really care. Yeah.
Okay. And so would you say that where would you say the chronic disease is really coming from? Would you think that is just related to people eating like a lot of food, or do you think like really there's something, I guess, like more wrong with the food in general?
Maybe I think the thing is wrong with the food because you see people do their food at their own house. You see the outcome of that. You see people eating healthy when they make their food in their own house. They know what they're choosing their ingredients very carefully. You very rarely find that they have like diseases and stuff. It's very rare, but when you see people eating fast food and eating out and all of that, you will find that they have more diseases and illnesses. So I think it's more of like the quality and you being like making your own food and choosing your food properly.
Okay. Are you familiar with the Make America Healthy Again movement?
Not really, no.
Okay. So basically, that's more a political thing, but it's still expressing some of the stuff that we are about quality of food. They're kind of saying that back in the day, people were frying using tallow instead of vegetable oil. Are you familiar with that process?
I heard about that before, yes. I think also, the oil makes more sense.
So, I mean, they weren't, and even the places that you go to these days that have tallow that they fry in, they either mix it with the vegetable oils or they put like deodorants in it, deodorants and like other anti-foaming agents. So they're putting a bunch of stuff regardless of the food itself, even if they say we fry with tallow or, we have natural food, they're still putting these preservatives and stuff and like that in there. So, I mean, even people that think they're eating something better probably even aren't, right?
Yeah, exactly. Because you don't know, you're not in the kitchen of wherever you're buying the food from. You're not seeing what's happening inside of that kitchen. Maybe the oil is actually tallow oil, but then what is in your chicken or what is in your actual food or your meal? What are you using? What's the ingredients? You don't know that. All you know is what's on your plate, chicken, fried chicken or whatever. You just know what's on your plate, but you don't know what's going on inside.
So you do mention that people that are eating at home are often healthier. I mean, that's something more rare that you'd see them with these diseases, obesity, all that. Would you say that then the solution is more on people themselves, or would you say that the government has some sort of role in stepping in there?
I think definitely the government would have a role in stepping in and actually making sure nothing is getting mixed, all the stuff that are using in restaurants and like food and stuff, that it's actually healthy and it's not stuff that will make us sick and stuff like, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, I think that's a big part of it. But at the same time, if you do your own food, you know what you're eating.
So why do you think it is that, despite the government having the regulations it does when it comes to food quality and all of this, the FDA being a thing, that we're still seeing these issues in the food supply, that there's still such like bad things out there that only now, like for example, the FDA is banning petroleum-based food dyes. Why are they only doing that now? Why is this something that they just put out there and said, this is fine, we should be able to use this, and only now like they're making something out of it?
I mean, I think because even if the government and the FDA has a hand in it, you still have people going around all of these rules and these, what we have, like you can't use this, but there's people still going around that rule. So I think even if the government has a hand in it, you still don't know what you're getting.
But at that point, wouldn't they be the ones approving that? I mean, for them to even be able to use this stuff in the first place. So wouldn't you say it's like the government isn't really concerned necessarily with health and maybe more with perhaps profitability, perhaps, like if, I guess like the food supply is in order rather than if it's good for people?
I mean, I do definitely agree. Like the government do have a big part in this. I mean, it is, if it's approved by the government, it's supposed to be healthy. But at the same time, when stuff are getting mixed and stuff, you don't really know what's going on in the, I'm saying if you get your own food, cook it in your own house, you know what's the outcome. And even if it's like FDA approved in the kitchens and stuff, but still, I don't know how I feel on that, Yeah.
I like that you're emphasizing individual responsibility.
Exactly.
Over anything
like
else.
It's on you. If you're going out and choosing to eat from every single day from a restaurant, getting fast food, getting processed food, etc., etc. That's at the end of the day, even if the government tells you this is approved, at the end of the day, it's you're the one who chooses what to eat, what to do for yourself. So it is your responsibility at the end of the day, because it might be approved, but then at the end of the day, maybe a little too much of it can cause issues.
Maybe not even just approved, but endorsed. Wouldn't you say that there is a problem with the government setting standards for what healthy food even is? Because often they tell people that certain things are good for you, and then it ends up being like, oh, we were wrong on that, let's change the health standards again. So if they're just sort of like unilaterally setting like, oh, this is the healthy food, don't you think that's encouraging the way that people are eating or viewing the food? If the FDA is like, we approve this, people are now thinking it has some sort of legitimacy to it.
Exactly. Maybe if it is approved by FDA, people will say, "Oh, that's healthy, that's good." Yeah, but I mean, do your research. Look after what you're eating, because this, at the end of the day, this is going inside your body, not whoever made the rules. You know, you're the one buying the food, you're the one eating it. Just do your research and look out for what you're eating, because at the end of the day, this is your body.
But my question there would kind of lead into, like, do you think that there's a problem with the government setting a lot of these standards, like, as opposed to individuals being able to come to the conclusion, or like research being done and people just looking at those results and saying, okay, well, this is what we're objectively seeing is happening, rather than just like the government saying, well, you know, these are the scientists that we got and this is what they said?
Yeah, I mean, it's at the end of the day, the government is also doing the research, so maybe not everyone is perfect, so maybe they get something wrong, whatever. That's why, like, I think you should do your own research, because if they get something wrong, it's not always their blame, because someone could have did something wrong, got research wrong, something like that. So they say it's healthy, but then they end up saying like, oh, no, it's not. So they take it back, and then they're like, oh, change this, change that. So at the end of the day, it's, even if they did the mistake, you should be responsible for yourself.
Do you think if the government had no role in this, that individuals would themselves be able to completely come to the right conclusions, figure out what food's good for them, if there just were no government regulations or anything like that?
Maybe, but I think, like, no. Because I think the government approving stuff and making sure this is good for you to put out, etc., etc., it's a very big role for setting standards for people. Like, yeah, you should eat from this, you shouldn't eat from this, even though you still look and do your own research, because you don't know, maybe they did a mistake or something. But at the end of the day, setting standards, and this denies people from making very low quality food that would actually cause like poisoning or stuff. So maybe the government has a good hand in it, but at the same time, it is your responsibility, as I said.
Well, you know, actually, when the government initially started testing meat, they had a person that would come in and like poke a hole through the meat to check for the quality of it, but that would actually cause disease to spread. So when the government set a standard of, oh, we have to have a guy come in and poke the meat, they were actually causing more issues than they had initially sought, or at least told us they sought to fix.
Well, I mean, that's something else, but at the same time, yeah, I mean, I see what you're saying, but at the same time, it is like they're trying to prevent bad things happening, but maybe some little mistakes can be avoided, and they should be avoided. But I think it's like a good cause. They're trying to do something good, but maybe it comes off as bad outcomes.
All right. Well, I mean, I appreciate you talking with me, having this discussion. I mean, it's been great. I don't know if Corey has anything to add.
No, I think your answers were really good. I mean, I probably would have given the same answers, I'd say. I would argue perhaps that the government doesn't have a role in our health, because as you said, it's individuals' responsibility, and even when they do create standards, people go around it, or you know, people ignore it because they find out they have to take it into their own account anyways, and if a company does something wrong, they either don't buy the product or they educate other people to not buy it. So I don't see the role in that, because government kind of just adds violence to the equation. But other than that, you know, I think aside from that being a direct violation on health, them being there is kind of like a parental figure, which I don't think, you know, we need if we empower each other to become more of our own governor, our own doctor, our own practitioner.
I definitely see your point. Yeah, that's for sure. I mean, yeah, you do have a point. I still think it is very much based on us, on how we do our research, on how we figure out what to eat, what not to eat, what to pick and what not to pick. Yeah. And at the end of the day, as I said, the government has a good cause in this, but at the same time, it is
good intentions.
Yes, exactly.
Maybe good intentions. Maybe.
Yeah, well, we definitely agree that, you know, it is largely up to individuals at the very least. But thank you so much for talking with us. If you have anything else to add, I mean, feel free.
Thank you. No, that's it. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you for having this conversation.
Yeah,
thank you.
Very
it was
insightful.
such a pleasure. Thank you. Bye-bye.
So I'm here with
You're here with Lenny right now.
What's up, Lenny? How much do you care about your health?
My health is very important. My health is what keeps me going, and it's what I need throughout the day. And that is how I function. That is how I do everything. That's what helps me the most. Yeah, I rely on my health with everything. Yeah, my life happens because of my health. Yeah.
So what sorts of things would you say that you do in your daily life to really prioritize your health?
Sorts of things is walking around, finding a way to lose weight, finding a way to exercise and move my body, and being healthy, staying healthy, and being wise about what I eat, and being wise about the things that I do, and what goes in my stomach, and how I utilize things that come to me throughout the day.
Do you think that just looking around, or I guess, wherever you see it, do you think people in America are healthy in general?
I would say you just have to find a way to be healthy in your own way. Because I feel like, when I came to the States here, there's a lot of foods and everything like that. But you just have to, be smart enough to be wise, to not make sure you're not just eating fast food every day. You're not consuming and eating fast food every day and spending money on things that are not gonna help your exercising plan. That's what I would say.
Okay. So where did you live prior, if you don't mind me asking?
So prior, I used to live in Italy. I've lived there about 11 years, and I came here, and then I'm excited to be here now. Yeah, living in life here in the States. Yeah.
Do you speak Italian?
Yes, I speak Italian.
No,
Yes,
really?
I speak about 4 languages. Yeah, that's
Oh,
the
snap.
exciting part.
Sorry.
So, would you say there's any difference in the food quality here between here and Italy?
Yeah, there's a big difference. In Italy, there is less food like that, less junky food, like everywhere around you. Because in Italy, there is food, but there's not that many different types of foods, and you don't have, like a parking lot where all that it has is literally you have unlimited type of food that any type of food that you want, you could get. In Italy, there's probably less. There's different types of foods, but there's not that many junk foods that much.
What would you determine as junk food? You're just talking about ultra processed food, or what are you saying? When you're the difference there and here?
Yeah, so the junk foods that I'm really talking about is about the McDonald's, Burger King, in every city that you're in, or in every state, that you're in, there's literally a McDonald's right in front of you, or there's literally a Burger King right in front of you. And that is the issue that has to, be solved. But you have to solve that issue. You have to find your way to solve that issue. You have to train yourself, and you have to you have to discipline yourself in a way, I would say.
Yeah, so that very much seems like you're saying it's up to us as individuals to figure this out.
Make our own decision
Yeah,
for
to
that.
make
Yeah,
our own
towards
decision.
that.
Do you think this is something that is actually the responsibility of government, or since you're talking more from a perspective of what individuals can do you think it actually really just falls on us and the government should just kind of step out of it?
You're in the government. You can't let the government overrule you, or you can't let the government get into your head. When you eat at home, the government doesn't know what you're eating, right? So you have to be the wise person and to know what I'm eating, or to know this is the environment that I'm in. Oh, I'm not going to be tempted to go eat at McDonald's, so on and so forth. So you have to find a way to override and overrule the government by the decision that you make on the healthy choices that you get for your food. And being healthy, it's not just being healthy in food, but it can be healthy in everything that you do, and in several things, and then also your body as well, just being healthy in your body and everything that goes into your body. It's pretty much.
Fair enough. I was referring to basically the government making these changes in the food supply itself, the actual food that you'd be going to get. Even, let's say, vegetables, or, somebody else was mentioning this to me, and it's true. They're sprayed with pesticides if they're not organic, things like that. So, do you think that's something that falls on government to change, or do you think this is more the government should step out of it and it should really be up to consumer demand and basically starting maybe new ways of getting our food more organic, to actually fix the problem?
Okay, so I would say the government should step out of it, because it's really not their job. They already have things that they're working on with the country and that they're doing, and I just feel like you don't want to add extra stuff to them or add extra stuff to it, because there's like a lot of things that they're already doing, and there's a lot of things that they have to like work on and things like that. So I just feel like giving them off, that balance, and us as humans taking care of that and doing that, I feel like is the best choice and is the best decision that we could ever take to improve that aspect.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good. I mean, definitely, I would agree with you there that it is on us. I mean, even if the government's saying we're banning these things,
Good answers.
worse things could come from that. I mean, it could be that, they ban one thing and then it gets replaced with something worse. And we don't even, know yet that it's that bad, or maybe most people don't, and they just kind of go with it.
Yeah, what you're saying is right. As you agree with me, it is right. So I just feel like it's on us. It's even an individual thing, I would say. It's mostly an individual aspect.
May I ask a question too?
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
So in the past couple of years, there were obviously a lot of things that happened with health. I think most people are aware of it.
Yeah.
There were a lot of restrictions being put on people's health, telling them there were certain mandates, certain things to wear in their face, or certain things to put in their body. Would your advice apply to that too, where individuals should decide for themselves and should override the government's?
Okay, so I wouldn't really restrict somebody, but I would try to find help for the person as possible. But I can't like go to their house and then make sure that they're eating vegetables, or they're eating salad, or they're consuming this type of smoothies, or this type of things. Is that I can advise them as as a person, to help them out, to help them seek what is best for them, and to help.
But you would never like force them or mandate?
Oh no, I don't. I wouldn't mandate or force anybody, because we have free will, and it's our own choice. But we all wish and hope the best for each individual and each one of us, and then we can fight, and we can fight for our own well. I would say.
Nice. Yeah, I appreciate it.
Yeah, very nice answers. I mean, I like a lot of what you're saying, and I mean, it's definitely been good having you here.
Sure.
I like that you're open to having this discussion with us. I mean, if there's anything else you want to add, feel free.
Nothing else that I would add. I think it was spoken pretty much, and everything has been set and stone and into detail. So I think we're good to go. Yeah, we can check it. We can give the check mark off. Yeah.
Awesome.
All right. Well,
Thank
thanks
you,
so
man.
much. Yeah.
Right,
I appreciate
You
it.
as well. So I'm here with.
Alfredo,
Nice to meet you, Alfredo. So, would you say you're a health conscious person?
100%. Yeah, big on
Okay.
health. Yeah.
Cool. What sort of things do you implement in your own life? Would you say, like, specifically?
I think number one just has to be like eating. I try to stay with fruit, good breakfast, good dinner, like all organic stuff. But it's obviously hard to do nowadays.
Yeah.
Are there any like sort of, I guess, like eating styles that you've been influenced by or anything like that?
Well, I'm gluten free, so I've been dedicated to that for a while, and I've just been really just sticking to that mostly. So that's my biggest one for sure.
Okay. Is there anything else you would say that you avoid on a label or like food ingredients in general maybe today?
Yeah, it's just I try to avoid the basic bad stuff, like the candy, really, like the obviously bad stuff for you, and like processed meats, stuff like that. Yeah.
Okay. Would you say that America overall is healthy?
They make it, they give it a way to be healthy. You could be healthy in America, but if you have a budget, then it is definitely is harder. But if you don't have a budget and you have money, then you can definitely be as healthy as you want in America.
Are you familiar with like obesity and chronic disease being more prominent here compared to other places in the world?
Like in America?
Yeah.
I would definitely see that. Yeah, I think it's just more of a lot of a mental thing in America. They just like their comfortability, the fast food. I mean, it's ridiculous. I'm gluten free. Like if you ever see the fast foods here, there ain't a lot of healthy fast foods at all. So it just kind of they put the fast things and easy things in front of our face a lot more. So it's a lot easier to do.
Do you think there's an aspect of not just, it being like a quick food that's made, whatever process, but like the actual things that they're putting in it, like, like the additives, the preservatives, the stuff that, McDonald's even wouldn't have had in the, like whenever it was founded, I don't know, 60s, 70s, like whenever, like when they just had the burgers and tallow fries.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the scary part to me because I'm huge on health and I still don't know all the things about that and what they put in everything, even the good stuff they probably add stuff. So it's like, it's really hard to stay away from, honestly. And it's just like, kind of impossible, honestly. Just like you got to suck it up at some point. You're gonna eat something bad, whether it's really bad or decently bad. You're gonna get one of them.
Yeah, there seems like to be a lot of issues with our food supply, if
Yeah.
you would agree with that.
Yeah, for sure.
Some people even today have pointed this out, but it's true, that, American bread versus bread in Europe is
Yeah.
even something that's widely different. Like America,
100%.
we have the enriched, bleached, like fortified. It's just, you have all these synthetic vitamins, iron and all that people are having a harder time with. So even the people that, they go gluten-free because of that,
Yeah.
some of those people go to Europe and they're like, I can eat the bread here, I can eat the pasta here.
Yep. Everybody says if they went to Italy, especially, there would be no problem. I would be allowed to eat pasta. I would be allowed to be eating bread. So honestly, I wanted to always give it a try, but I don't know.
So with that, would you say that because, this is a governmental thing now that they've turned it into, I have my own concerns with it because I think they might be trying to latch onto this issue because it's becoming more popular.
Yeah.
But do you think that the government coming up with a solution to this or trying to implement something is a good thing? Or do you think that it should fall more on us as individuals regardless and maybe the government should even step back?
No, I think it's hugely on the government. I think if they made it more normal of eating healthy and everybody being healthy, I think it would just implement everybody being healthy. Like when I see my friend eating healthy, it's like it makes me want to eat healthy. And when I see my friend eating bad, it's kind of makes me want to eat bad. So it's like just having that stuff in front of our face, not so much, and putting better options in front of our face. And like if we're Americans, like we like that stuff quick, efficient. We're on a timely schedule. So I mean, just start removing some of the bad stuff at least, and making it more of a choice to choose healthy instead of having it right in front of our face and making us I really can't do McDonald's, because it's hard for us to say no for a lot of things. So I think if we didn't have to say no all the time and it wasn't such in our face, then it'll be easier for us to be better.
I do have a question, if you don't mind. Say, so we're Americans, right? So I know we eat a lot of processed food.
Yeah.
We distract ourselves,
Yeah.
all sorts of things.
Yeah.
But also, we have this saying when we say we are Americans that we are free and that we have the ability to choose and live our life. So
Yeah.
when you say that the government has a huge role,
Yeah.
don't you think that maybe can cause a conflict with, say, our freedoms?
Yeah. I could see 100% people being like, bring back the old. How many there used to be 20 McDonald's here? Now there's only 15, and people complain about that. But I mean, I think a majority of Americans in the long run would say, once you realize you're eating bad, it's like, and then you eat that good stuff, you feel better, like, and just like your whole mind, your whole day, just everything goes better through it, your bowel system. And I think everybody kind of needs to realize that and have a chance to realize that if they never have a chance to realize that, because they're always having that freedom to, I can have that freedom to eat bad because I can do what I want and I am in America. I mean, it is worth a shot, is what I'm saying. It is worth a shot to take it away a little bit. Give Americans a little less choice to eat bad, and
So like kind of necessary for the greater good in a sense?
for our kids' sake, for our kids' sake, for our future, for your sake in the old run. I mean, I know I won't be eating McDonald's when I'm older, so I only eat it now because I'm 21. I feel healthy. I feel good. I feel like it's not going to affect me that much. But I know when I'm 40, if I get there, that's gonna hurt me way more.
So how, if you don't mind me asking, how do you think the government would specifically address this? You're saying if it should have a huge role.
Yeah, like I said, I think they should really just, me being gluten-free and the one thing, like, it's hard to eat in general for me. Like, I can't even get fast food half the time. Like, the only thing I really eat, Chipotle, Fresh Kitchen's not even around a lot of places. I can't eat like any Chinese food. Like, there are a lot of fast foods. Like, there's just like, I cut out so many things because I am gluten-free. So I can't eat a lot of these things in the first place. So I see that how bad it is for you because I cut back on it too. So like if I wish I would be able to get a fast food place instead of McDonald's that I could eat healthy at and like actually get fast food too. Like, it's not always just have to be a bad thing.
So what specifically should the government do is what I'm asking.
I think they should remove a lot of the bad corporations out here. I mean, just plain and simple.
Corporations?
Like the big ones. Like there's just you're already gonna make their money.
So how big does it count as like?
What are you asking? Like how? Like what big companies?
Yeah, like what counts as a big company? And doesn't Fresh Kitchen, isn't that a chain too?
Yeah, for sure. But it's a better chain than the bigger, like the worst ones. Like that's. a healthier option. Is what I'm saying. Like I have no problem with fast food. It's just when I pass by 10 McDonald's and one Fresh Kitchen, what am I more likely to get? You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So I feel like just removing a lot of them options for bad and replacing them with good.
But there's no like standard you would say that would apply to like this amount of franchises in this one neighborhood, or you think there should be a specific number on that? Like, how would we make that happen? Like, and don't you think that would also potentially get rid of some jobs in the process?
Yes.
It would destroy some companies, and they have families too.
I think if the what do you guys call it? The health make
America healthy.
If you try to make America healthy again, replace these bad corporations with good ones. I mean, there isn't even that many good fast food, healthy fast food options like in the United States at all. Can you name more than 5 good healthy fast food places? Like Wawa, you have the option, like that's decent. Like, but I know Fresh Kitchen, and that's almost it. Like, and what's the McDonald's counterpart of a healthy fast food? And like, that's just talking about fast foods. I can go to restaurants. I can go start talking about bad restaurants, and then grocery stores, that gives you the option always, but some grocery stores you can't even find organic, and it's just like damn, like I really have to go to another grocery store all the way across town.
I'm the same way as you.
Just to get organic potatoes.
I 100% agree with you. But what role do you think education then has in relation? So you say, okay, the government might, get rid of some corporations, get rid of some companies, and get rid of these things. But what about the education? So like, don't you think maybe there's some responsibility on part of the individual, aside from the government, aside from...
I think education has a huge part. I mean, when I found out the Red 40, for example, I didn't eat red stuff for months. Like that's just how my brain works, and like how I knew it was banned in Europe. Like, damn, like why are we doing this? Like it has all these bad things.
So you made that choice yourself?
Yes.
Without the government?
Yes, but without knowing the harmfulness of Red 40.
Yes.
And it's literally banned in another country and banned in another continent. Like I was like, damn, like I want to be better for myself. I think that why would I want to do that to myself? Just because I have the freedom to do it, but now I know the consequences of it.
Yeah.
In the long run,
do you think
what
it could be difficult though, like for the government to try to find all those different ingredients, because there's a lot of ingredients?
And if I can even just cut in, because I mean, like I agree with you for sure that I mean, eating out, there's not much at all. I mean, there are like some options here and there that aren't as bad, but it's like still not ideal. I mean, even if you find something, but more from a perspective of like, do you think that this should be up to one institution to say these are the good foods, these are the bad foods? Because think about it, like there could be a restaurant that serves all red meat, and then they're like, red meat's not good for you, it causes colon cancer or something. They just make this claim, they use their science, and then they shut it down. So like things like that, it could be whatever have you. Like they may say like, oh well, this way of eating isn't good, so we're going to shut this down, even though they could actually be wrong on this issue. So I mean, would you say that it really should be just up to one institution to determine who or who not can operate and how? Yeah,
well, either way, we're gonna have both options no matter what. Like I feel like there's always gonna be places with red meat. There's always going to have things with Red 40 in them. So that's why the education of your own brain has to go into play and say, do I really want to eat this? What do I think about this? I know what this could possibly do. So should I eat there or not? Okay. But
if it's banned, it wouldn't be there at all, though.
But I'm not saying completely banned. Okay. I'm just saying replace it a little bit.
Oh, okay.
Like, like with the McDonald's. Like, just give us more of an option. Just giving us more of an option, like two, right next to each other. Give it right next to each other. I don't care.
Okay.
Red 40 and not Red 40.
Now I see what you're trying to say. It's like conditional.
It's gonna be there no matter what. We're not like, don't ban anything. I mean, are they ever gonna ban McDonald's? Are they ever gonna ban meat? Are they ever gonna ban Red 40? Probably not. But knowing some facts that could be true could save a life. Can save. I mean, I'm gluten free. My dad wasn't gluten free. He probably did this to me. He probably ate this way and got it from me. I mean, the gluten-free is a new thing. Celiac disease is a new thing. So, I mean, our bowels are obviously changing.
Yeah.
So, and I
point.
mean, like, I just kind of wanted to interrupt as well with saying, like, you know, based on just what I was saying before with the health standards.
Yeah.
I mean, the whole reason that these fast food companies are even using these oils to begin with, McDonald's got sued for using tallow because they claimed it caused heart disease. Taco Bell switched from using coconut oil to seed oils because, oh, well, that's too much saturated fat. And so they gave up these healthier options because there were these claims from what the government has decided is the official science and just settled matter, saying saturated fat is the enemy.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. I mean, if you ever worked for a fast food place or any food place, you see behind the scenes of what you're really eating, and I think it just goes to show for yourself. I mean, if you really see it, if you really know it, like, you know what's gonna hurt you and what's not gonna hurt you. And I think a lot of Americans know that, even in the plain sight, without the facts, without the not the facts, you can really see it for yourself if that's good for you or not. And it's really your own option. So many people choose bad still. So I mean, it's really you gotta see it to believe it. That's how I am. And I didn't have the choice to see it to believe it. So now I just believe it, and now I just do it. Now I just live by that. But I would love for everything to be healthy. I mean, I see the different sides of everything. So
Nice. I appreciate it, man.
yes, sir.
Well, yeah, I mean, it was definitely good talking with you. I
Yes,
appreciate you giving us this opportunity to have this conversation.
Make a change out here.
Yeah, for sure. And is there anything else you wanted to add?
Just eat fruit. Eat fruit. That's all I got to say.
That's good.
And all nature. God gave us nature as things, so eat what God gave us.
That's right. Thank you. I
Well,
appreciate
Well,
it,
thank
man.
you so much. All right. So I'm here with.
Avery, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. So, how much do you care about health?
A lot more. I feel like I'm not sleeping well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, compared to the average person, you would say that you care a lot more about it. What sorts of things are you concerning yourself with, or really, you know, practicing aside, you know, from the sleep and all that, to like really maintain your health?
I guess like for me, most of my problems come from mental. So really just going outside, just hanging out with friends, taking like a nice walk. It's quite beautiful this time around. So.
Okay. Would you say you have like any different practices when it comes to like things like diet or anything like that compared to normal people, or are you just kind of like, you know, going kind of with the flow on what's normally eaten?
I eat what I have in the fridge. I just cook whatever I feel like. So, yeah.
But do you like feel at all concerned by maybe quality of ingredients overall in the food supply or anything like that? Maybe things that, like, when you go out to a restaurant, what sorts of things they'd be using?
A little bit, but not to the point where I avoid things, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Would you say America overall is healthy?
I'm not sure, because I'm international and there are a lot of nuances that I, as an international student, cannot understand, as, you know, opposed to people who've been living here all their lives. So I'm afraid that I don't have enough knowledge to say anything.
Yeah. So I mean, I could pull up like some statistics here, basically just on chronic obesity, chronic disease and obesity in America.
What do you mean by nuance? Is there like some examples you want to share?
I guess that it's just that I'm not sure. I feel like I've only been here for like so little, and literally I don't even know what streets I'm living at right now. So like I feel like I know too little to form any opinions or statements.
Did you eat like different food, and where do you like come from?
I cook my own, but that's just perks of me like living off campus.
Okay.
So I guess that for a lot of people, I guess like on campus, they just got to deal with, for example, like let's say they have to deal with whatever they have that's available on dining halls, and that doesn't give them a lot of options, I guess, and what they want to eat. I'm not sure.
I definitely agree with that. But so basically, just some stats here that we have. These are just pulled from the CDC. So adult obesity in the U.S., the prevalence is actually approximately 40.3% of adults aged 20 or older were classified as obese between August 2021 and August 2023. And so severe obesity affected 9.4% of adults in America. Childhood obesity between 2017 and 2020, 19.7% of U.S. children and adolescents aged 2 to 19 were classified as obese. So, I mean, and if we're just talking about chronic disease in general, apparently approximately 60% of the U.S. adults have at least one chronic disease, and 40% have two or more. So I just knowing that information, would you classify, I mean, obviously you don't have to say like a whole yes or no, but would you just say, like, relative to other countries in the world, do you think America is healthy? Do you think, I mean, like, this seems like a significant amount?
Well, based on statistics alone in America, I obviously don't have any other to compare it with the rest of the world. So I guess that, there could be improvement, but I could say that about literally anything at this point.
Let's just say that our statistics are like drastically worse.
Oh, I'm not aware.
Yeah.
Well, I guess maybe to ask a bit more about your perspective as far as what you can see yourself, just being here in general, going in public and all that, do you notice that there are more people who are like, heavier and all that, or maybe look like, or maybe complain more about being tired or something like that?
I feel bad for saying this, but like, I don't really notice that. Like, I go out of my way. I just go to school, hang out with my friends, go home, sleep. So I've never like looked into like that.
Yes.
If you know what I mean. So yeah, I haven't noticed, but that's just because I don't pay attention.
Well, I mean, that's fair. I mean, definitely, I'm just talking about observations people have made that I've seen, and just talking about like comparing like photos of American beaches, like, in past decades to now, and just saying like overall it looks like America isn't as healthy.
Could I ask, if you don't mind, where'd you come from?
I'm from Vietnam.
Okay. And your family, like, and you say you cook food. I mean, I feel like a lot of Americans in general like don't necessarily learn that. And I think it's a cultural difference as well. It makes a big difference. I notice, at least. So it's amazing. But I think when you start seeing disease and your family members are starting to get sick, you start questioning a lot of things. That's what's happening to a lot of Americans, at least in my experience.
All right. What was the question again? I'm so sorry.
No, I'm just sharing my experience of what I feel in America, like seeing my family members get sick. I think it's because of the culture and the background we're raised in. Like your family background, they do a lot more home cooking, a lot more herbs and spices.
Yeah, it's because my culture, I'd say.
Yes. It's something to be grateful for sure.
Yeah, what I was just going to say to you, though, was that basically with this movement being had, people want to see better quality food, but from our perspective, this is a very thing where it's kind of up to us to do something about it. So, I mean, what perspective maybe would you say you're on this? Would you say that it makes sense to have the government doing something about this, or do we as individuals have that responsibility?
If we're talking about I guess we could do something about it, I would say it's, let me think. I don't want to make a blanket statement because I understand that not a lot of people have privileges to eat healthy. I think that having the skills to just cook and knowing how to do certain things, I think that it just comes with me growing up, and I understand that it's not something everyone has. For example, you're living with your parents, you eat what they cook. You don't really have a choice. It's still good, their food. It's just that you don't have a choice of what you want to do with your body. I guess that if you can learn how to cook by yourself little by little, I think it helps a lot. And if you can do something about it, maybe for mental wise, I think that make sure that you have enough rest, I guess, not overworking yourself. I think those are really blanket statements. I'm really sorry.
No, I mean, it's good to have that perspective for sure. And I mean, I appreciate you talking with me today. If there's anything else you want to add, I mean, feel free to do so.
I feel like I did quite bad on this interview.
No, you did fine.
Thank you.
No, I mean, we just want to hear people's perspectives on this.
Yeah.
I mean, it's good to even have people that are maybe saying, well, I do think about it, but I haven't thought of these certain things, and maybe that's something I might take into account. Things like that is fine. We're just having an open discussion here.
Thank you for your time. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Well, thank you. So I'm here with
Aramis.
Nice to meet you. So, how much do you care about your own health?
Quite a bit. I'm trying to eat right. Not happening very often, but just trying to make my my macros, and protein goals and stuff. That kind of stuff.
What would you say as far as your concern about quality of food?
I don't know. It's but whenever I see the nutrition facts, I see a lot of sugar on it. Where I'm from Russia, wouldn't have that much sugar, and I never got that fat real quick before, since I moved here. Yeah. So
What would you say about other additives like preservatives, dyes, seed oils?
I'm not that informed about that stuff. I heard it's not good. You know, like all those red 40s or whatnot. But you know, whatever.
So, do you ever make any sort of like attempt to avoid any of that if you see it on a label?
Well, I'm trying to. I don't really look through like the contents of it. But if I see like a more colorful, I don't know, cereal or something, I'd rather not pick it.
Okay. You know? Yeah. So, are you familiar? Or actually, let me ask first. Would you say America is healthy overall?
I don't know. Like if
That's
I compare it to
no.
my country, like say fast food, right? Over there, it's much more expensive. It's like the service is much better because it's much more expensive. But here, it's like you just work for like say 2 hours and you can afford your McDonald's meal easy. I don't know. It's too good in that kind of way. It's too cheap and people resort to that often. You know.
Yeah. Are you just familiar overall with how people talk about there being more chronic disease in America compared to other places?
Not really, no.
Okay. I want to read some stats here just from the CDC, just so that you could get an idea. I know obviously like we don't have like necessarily frame of reference just based on like Russia or anything, but I mean maybe these numbers will sort of clear it up for you. So here we have adult obesity in the US, and approximately between August 2021 and 2023, 40.3% of adults aged 20 and over were classified as obese. 9.4% of those adults were severely obese. And so then also childhood obesity is increasing in prevalence. So between 2017 and 2020, 19.7% of US children and adolescents aged 2 to 19 were classified as obese. And then 3.6, it increased from 3.6 to 7% over the same period for children. And chronic disease itself, this is the last one I have here, is just that approximately 60% of US adults have at least one chronic disease, and 40% have 2 or more. So what do you think about that?
Well, I mean, obviously it's not the best because, you know, people cannot work at certain jobs because of that. And I don't know, you know, just die quicker or suffer, you know, their life. People should take concern of what they're doing, you know, care about their health.
Do you think the solution is from them, like the government doing this, like even in like some way, or do you think it really just should be up to us and the government maybe should step back?
That's a good question. I don't know, I'm usually like against government control and overreach. Yeah. But like, I don't know, maybe people might be taking these choices how do you say that? Like unconsciously. And if there is a healthier option for like, I don't know, 10 more cents, I think that's a good idea then, you know. If it costs more, but it's better for people, if the margin is not that big, I mean they might take initiative for that.
I mean, it definitely seems like the corporations and even the government have been promoting this for some time, because the government until now has been saying these things are fine. They were FDA approved, they were considered safe, and now they're not. I mean, possibly because they want to sort of take the movement that's already become a thing and sort of integrate it, you know, to kind of gain more popularity, because we've already been talking about it, like people just in general. And so they might want to say like, okay, well, how are we going to incorporate this so that people aren't really looking out for their own health as much and just kind of relying on us? Yeah. Like, would you agree that that's sort of what's happening, or would you have like any alternative sort of ideas?
I don't know. That's a good question. Yeah, that's what I was thinking about. Like say fast food, right? Most of them are using seed oils to fry fries or stuff. There isn't like much of a other option for people, really. So I think that might be a good option for the government to intervene in that stuff. Yeah.
Okay, so would you say that's a good option just because like there is no person in the market offering this maybe as widely as we'd want it to be right now? I mean, there are more people that are saying they're cooking in that stuff, but even so, if we're talking about big corporations like Buffalo Wild Wings or something like that, or even other corporations that are doing it now, some of them are either mixing in seed oils or they're just using like chemicals in it regardless. Like Steak and Shake, they have chemicals, I think even, or at least they fry their fries in seed oils first, then in the tallow. They do that. Buffalo Wild Wings has like a preservative. That is all to say, basically, like, even if we do see that there is some option coming about, it's still unhealthy. So is that sort of where you're saying that this needs to happen? Like, because even when these options are presented that people think are healthy, they're still not healthy?
Well, I mean, like internal reform without the government, it might happen, since like I see a lot of food companies are now, or like a more and more like snack companies, you know, they're making more healthier option, more protein, like less preservatives or something. And that might change like the competition, the market, since there's more demand for that, for healthier stuff. But I don't think this can swing the market as much, like this internal competition. It would be good, but I don't think it's going to happen soon.
What would you think of instead of the government coming in and saying we're going to change this all for you, thinking like instead just not giving any money to corporations at all from taxpayer money, or even really like creating as many regulations when it comes to business so that people can more easily start their own businesses that are, you know, more health oriented?
You mean make it easier?
Yeah, like if the government just sort of stepped back and let people more easily make these businesses that we're talking about right now, do you think that's, if anything, a better solution than just saying these companies have to start using these other ingredients?
Yeah, for sure. Because the easier to start a business, the more business is going to be, the more competition or alternatives for people. Instead of going to McDonald's, they can go to a food truck or something that's they know is better. Yeah.
Okay. Did you have anything to add, Corey?
No, so I mean, it sounds like you kind of want like a free market kind of a approach to health, saying that people should be free to choose like what they want to buy and see what choices are best for themselves, and take kind of personal responsibility. Would you say people should take responsibility of their health and not give it away, generally speaking?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you. I appreciate you being here.
Yeah, thank you so much. We really appreciate the talk. It's been good talking with you. If there's anything else you want to add, I mean, you can feel free to.
I mean, yeah, just go to the gym, I guess. Walk around. That's what I did. Like, I was just laying down in my bed like a couple days after exam, so I decided to go for like a 2-3 hour walk. I don't know.
Be outside, get some sun.
Hi, I am Heike Scharm. I'm a professor in world
really?
languages, yes,
Okay.
and I teach Spanish and culture classes.
Oh,
and
cute dog
this
you
is
got
Gus.
there. Aw, very cool. You want to show
Gus
the dog on camera?
Gus also likes health.
Oh my gosh. Okay, very cool. So, how much do you care about health? Like, do you consider yourself a health conscious person, generally speaking?
I think so. I do. I'm vegan. Been vegan for decades.
Okay.
And I exercise regularly, but I don't do it consciously because I want to be healthy. I do it because it feels good.
Okay.
And I feel good. I like feeling good.
Makes sense to me.
Pretty much my measure of things.
So, will you say there's any particular habits or lifestyle changes that you use that you really give credit to for your health and well-being?
I think so, because genetics are not, I did not win the lottery with genetics. Everybody in my family is dead, unfortunately. And I have many of the similar issues, but they don't affect my health because I'm plant-based. So when I made that switch when I was young, it resolved a lot of issues.
So how long, may I ask?
So vegan for almost 20 years and before vegetarian
Okay, very
for
nice.
10 years.
I'm glad to see that it's working for you and you
Yes.
like it. And
He doesn't like it.
Yeah.
Like,
what
why
is-
are you eating that crap, Mom?
Do you think? Well, I guess that could be a question. Do you think animals maybe have their own diet of their own, and then humans kind of have their, or is it like everybody has to find out what works best for them?
I think everybody has to figure out what's best for them.
Okay.
I've talked to many people who wanted to be plant-based and it just didn't feel right for them. And I
Okay.
think people are just different. For me, it worked out great. My kids are vegan since they were little. For them, it's great, but for other people, it may not be the best diet.
I see.
It's not a religion.
Yeah. No, I appreciate you having that perspective. I like to look at the individual as well, and
Yeah.
that's why I like to interview people too. Is like to learn from everybody's unique perspectives. So, would you say America generally is healthy or no?
I think that
Do you wanna say?
the difference, because obviously I'm not American, I think the difference is here you have a lot of fads and a lot of it is social media driven.
Fats,
And
like in the food,
Like a fad. Like,
oh, fads.
Like
okay.
and it's extreme. Like you have to do this, this, and this, and only this, this, and this, and then it becomes so. It almost is tied to identity of people. I think.
Yeah, I can see.
I find that a big difference to European countries, and eating here I think is also more stressful. I think in Europe it's more social. Like when you go out to eat there, you sit there for hours in a place and socialize as you eat. And here it's like you eat, you want to make sure you have big portions, and then you leave. That's a little bit weird to me. And then exercising wise, yeah, I think it's tied here to consumerism more.
Okay.
So, you know, you choose a sport and then you have to have all this equipment, and you just go to an extreme in everything. Or am I exaggerating, do you think?
No, I think you got a point. There was actually a lot of people who we interviewed today who came from, like, somebody from Italy. There was other people all over the world that actually, by my surprise, we keep interviewing, and they share that. They say, like, if I go to Italy and I eat bread, it's totally different from the bread over here, for instance.
Yeah.
And some of the questions that Ahmed was asking was like, you know, do you value quality over quantity, or, like, you know, do you think that matters, the quality of our food? Like, what do you think in particular is causing all this illness, you think, in America as a whole? You know, aside from diets, aside from, like, trying to look at, I guess, the individual, like, as a whole, do you think there's any action steps on a societal level we can take?
I think it starts in childhood. I find it a little bit disturbing of the food that is served children in schools. I think there is a lot of additives that shouldn't be and that they're forbidden in Europe. You have a lot of food dyes, for example, that you can replace with more natural colors and still looks appetizing. I think the sugar consumption here is a lot higher too. Like, I don't even like pastries here because it's all I taste is the sugar. I don't taste the flavor of things.
I see.
So I think your sugar consumption is a little bit over the top. I think that people here don't cook as much, and you consume a lot of foods, takeout foods, restaurant foods, processed foods. I find that is probably problematic.
Yeah.
People don't, you know, take vegetables and whatever meats they like and cook. It's like convenience and
right. So, I mean, I don't know if you're, like, following a lot of what's happening nowadays, but I think people are becoming more conscious, generally speaking, of health as things are getting more worse with, like, different statistics. He was reading obesity statistics, and, like, I'm aware of, like, the autism statistics. It's like 200% increases. It's, like, crazy stuff over the span of 30, 40 years. So I think a lot of people are aware of the problem and may not know how to go about the solutions. Some people are using, like, the political solution, like Make America Healthy Again. I don't know if you've heard of that.
Yeah, I heard about it.
Do you think that the solution is going to come from the government, or is it going to come from people?
Probably both. I mean, I know in America you separate government and people, and it's often very antagonistic. I find that the government is the people because you vote them in, right? You can just vote somebody else in. I think the change has to come from childhood, from education, and then also it sounds like it's more like a white privilege problem. You know, a lot of people don't have a healthy diet because they can't afford anything else, or they live in food desert. I find that can be an issue that could be resolved more from the government level, maybe.
Okay. Yeah, I think you know, you mentioned white privilege. I'm like, I get afraid of, like, going into, like, race stuff because it's like that's a big thing often on campuses and stuff. It's like people talking about that. But you mentioned then economy. So, I mean, do we really want to mix culture with economy and food in regards? I feel like these are all separate conversations.
Well, if you have neighborhoods where you don't have access to grocery stores and you don't have access to produce, but you can spend $3 at a McDonald's and you can have a meal and you don't have money, that's what you're going to do. And that is the way that the children are going to be raised, and it's not the people's fault.
So you're saying, like, generally people who are not white or in lower class neighborhoods, and that's what you're referring to when you say white privilege?
Not all lower class neighborhoods, but I do find that there are underserved communities that don't have access to fresh produce, and that they don't have the money necessarily to have a healthy diet, and a healthy diet isn't cheap necessarily.
Okay. So
it's cheaper to buy processed food. It's cheaper to buy unhealthy food than it is to buy healthy food.
Sure. So what do you think is a specific action step then that the government can take if they're going to help us with our health?
Again, from what I remember in the history here over the last decades, if the government would intervene, it would not be viewed as something positive. I don't know if it would be effective. But I think starting in schools, starting in preschools, kindergartens, and I volunteered when my kids were little in their school, where parents could come and cook something easy in the kitchen, in the school kitchen, for example. I thought it was a great program. So I would go in and we would make a fun, colorful salad, and the kids loved that.
What about like gardening programs?
So they do have those sometimes. I don't think that would be government like federal government. That would be more local governments. But absolutely, where you could combine maybe after school care with a community garden.
Why don't we have that? Just like curious question.
So the neighborhood I lived in, St. Pete, before, they did have that. And that was actually an underserved community. So they did have that, but that was just one instance where I saw it. But I think that should be much more widespread, because it's not expensive to do it, and if children grow up this way, they're going to be adults that do that. I'm sure things that you like eating now is because you ate them as a kid, right?
I guess I ate very unhealthy as a kid. I don't really eat any of the stuff I used to eat.
Okay. But see, why did you eat unhealthy food as a kid?
It was just programming, conditioning, kind of. Everybody else did it. I was just here in America, and that's just what we did.
So your parents had it at home?
Yes.
Probably they were raised eating it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And I was from Pennsylvania, and they were from New York, and yeah, they lived in the city, and that's just what they got, and
Right.
I just ate whatever, really. And I didn't really beg my parents like, oh, I want candy or I want this. I just kind of did it. I didn't really think about it. I didn't really care about it.
You don't think about it, exactly. And I think if kids are exposed to the healthy eating as a kid, they're not going to think about it. It's going to be normalized, and they're going to be adults who hopefully have that.
Yeah. We're trying to do events on campus, hopefully next semester.
Okay.
And so I'm trying to partner with some sort of org or somebody. I don't know if staff or anybody. I want to invite speakers. I have people who are really inspiring that inspire me. Talking about growing food, talking about like bringing people together despite all the other divisions in the world. Like my goal is to learn from people, open the conversation, ask questions. That's why my shirt says question everything. And I truly believe.
Like that. You
Yeah.
should question everything.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you. I mean, yeah. So, I mean, the events. I have like the people. Like, there's people off grid in Florida, like Central Florida. You would never know they're there. And I met them, and they're growing food forests. I don't know if you ever heard of food forests.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
That is fantastic.
So I want to bring that to the awareness of like USF and students, because this could also be like a future career. Like all these ornamentals could be edibles. Like we can have plants growing food everywhere, and it's like, why don't we, right? So these are the things I ask, right? Yeah.
And then think about all the chemicals that are being dumped on
Yeah.
it. So I think that a lot of the increase in the diagnoses is also because we have much better ways of finding them. And so the increase doesn't necessarily mean there are more people that have it. I think that also because of our education system here, people who are on the spectrum or with less intense forms of autism were often considered as misbehaving, or you know what I mean? It wasn't really recognized in a lot of kids that there were other issues, but now I think we're much more open to accepting that.
Yes. And also, so I'm connected with a lot of social workers and people in the medical field. There's an issue in psychiatry too with over-diagnosing in the sense of like labeling everything.
Exactly.
And that label can also have issues too. So it's like, it's a whole rabbit hole.
It's like, how do we define normal?
There's a lot of nuance, right? So
Yeah.
when people look at a list of anything, like I expect you to be critical of it, of course. And that's why I'm like, yeah, you should disagree with me, because if I looked at a list somebody gave me, I would do the same thing, because there's always a flip side, you know, there's always a different way to look at
Absolutely.
it. So, and that's why I appreciate your open-minded perspective. And that's what I hope to do with my events is really, you know, I don't have an agenda. I don't have a set thing. I just want people to think for themselves, and that's it, and live their own life, and then leave other people alone, generally speaking, to live their own life as they please, as long as they're not harming other people or transgressing.
I like your shirt a lot, because when we are convinced about something, we tend to talk a lot. I talk a lot. And we forget to listen. And sometimes, especially when we are around people who have very different opinions than us, sometimes it's good to maybe ask questions. Why do you think this? Instead, not with the intention of arguing back, but really trying to understand and listen. And I think that's a good basis to start a discussion.
Thank you. Yeah, you're awesome. I appreciate it. You know, I love talking with like professors or students, like teachers, because I feel like I could resonate. No, but I it's within me. I kind of like to be a teacher myself, like in the sense I would like to think I am, right? Because I'm online, I'm sharing ideas, and I just want people to think for themselves. And I'm just like, here it is, and pointing it out, and then sometimes I have seminars and ways of delivering
really?
it. Yeah. So I feel like,
Is
you
it
know,
about food?
food? Yeah. Well, actually, I am a health coach, so I do care a lot about that. That's how I started. But then as I moved forward in my path, I kind of started to understand, wait, you know, I talk about growing food. Now, you know, now it's more than
I
that.
like that.
Yeah, at first, you know, it was just nutrition, but now I'm connecting it to how do we get that nutrition?
Right.
And then it's also now the mentality. I'm looking a lot at psychology. That's where a lot of my focus has been for the past couple of years. So eco-psychology is a pretty cool field or term because it's kind of like what my main message is, which is nature is the answer. Like that's the term I use on my channel, which is to say like we need to return to nature in a sense or respect the earth. And that's kind of my hippie phrase.
Are you looking into indigenous thought on that? I think they're way ahead of us in that regard.
What thought?
Indigenous thought.
Oh, indigenous, yes, for sure. There's a lot to learn from indigenous cultures.
Absolutely.
Yes, absolutely. Hello, it's like a ghost town around here. But who are you, and are you a health conscious person,
My name is Abby.
or do you consider yourself a health conscious person?
A little bit.
Okay, a little bit.
Yeah, a decent bit, I guess.
Now, why do you say that?
Because I try to maintain myself, like doing a lot of exercise, and I try not to eat too many processed food.
Okay.
And try to eat my veggies. So.
Okay. Got you. Yeah, makes sense. Do you think vegetables are a core part of like our health? Because nowadays there's like people saying like we don't need vegetables. We just need to eat like grass-fed meat.
No, they're very important. I need to eat more of them. I admit.
Yes.
They're very important. Like our ancestors have always eaten them, and like every doctor kind of like recommend that. Yeah.
Okay. Would you consider America healthy, generally speaking?
The United States?
Yes.
Primarily no, but there's a lot of shades because people here, like you can find many different type of people. Like the fitness people, yes, they try to have like a healthy lifestyle. In general, I feel people need more nutrients, like eat more healthy things.
This is good for your health, folks, to get out of the sun so you don't burn too much. But don't be afraid of the sun either, right?
Get some sun.
The sun.
Even on your scalp. I know I'm putting the hat on right now, but I've been getting sun for a while on my scalp.
Yeah, I think this goes through
Very
the hat
good
too,
for you.
So.
Oh, that's good.
This is like a gardening hat from my grandfather. Anyways, that's totally side the story. Thank you for talking with us. So, okay, yeah, America is not healthy, you said?
Primarily.
Yeah. What do you think we could do better?
People here do not lack food, so in that sense, they're doing well, very well. And I think people have enough protein intake. And there's a reason why we're the nation that consumes the most meat. However, we should try to incorporate more fruits and more veggies. We don't have to necessarily replace our whole diet. We just try to incorporate things and make some swaps to make it healthier. Like for example, this doesn't necessarily have to do with veggies, but if somebody's more conscious with the calories, instead of having like your normal pancakes with flour, you can try to swap it by like almond flour or something. And instead of using a lot of butter, you can use like Greek yogurt or something like that.
Okay.
So that also helps with diet.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Greek yogurt instead of butter. Well, for cooking, does that work too? Like, or do you have to get a different pan?
No, that's a different pan.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, for like recipes that normally have like butter, you know, like pancakes, even cupcakes or stuff like that.
Sure. Okay. And so is that something you do as well, or?
Yeah.
And where do you get these ideas from? Is it culturally, or like did you do research, or what?
I had to do some research. I come originally from South America, and when I came to the US, I gained weight very easily. Very, very easily. And so I have to do some conscious swapping because I feel like the same food I eat back in my country and here it has way more calories. And so I have had to start doing some more conscious swaps, so I'm starting to lose that weight that I gain in here.
Okay, I got you. Now, I don't know if you're aware, like in America, there's a lot of people that say like things are unhealthy and things are changing, and so we need to become more health conscious. There's like movements like Make America Healthy Again, which is like RFK Jr. and a bunch of doctors and people are coming together. Do you think the solution is going to come from the government, or is it going to come from people taking responsibility over their own health? Like how much responsibility should they have over their own health?
the government should do a better job, but I'm expecting the change to come from people because it's more of a cultural thing, not necessarily like a government thing. Like if people gather together, they can make the change in companies that, you know, people that always talk about
Sure.
the companies putting a lot of sugar, colorants, and other stuff that they shouldn't be putting in the food. So if people gather, if we stop, like collectively stop buying from stuff or do things to respect, companies will change and they will make things healthier, but it is us who have to make the choice. And one or two people don't make the change. We have to be a bunch of people so something can actually happen.
I see. Yes, and so I love that answer, and I think that's important. Do you think there's a way to do that? Would you say there's a specific strategy or way we can do that?
It's very difficult because the US is not a very unified country because it's very I think it starts with religion because people here, unlike other places, people here follow many different religions, so that's
Less unified in that sense?
yeah, like people tend to be unified by religion, sometimes by school, right? Like what unifies people at USF is that we go to the same school.
Good point.
So, but here's very promoted the idea of individualistic and not community. Unlike in my country, there's more the idea of community, so it's easier for people to agree with things. Here, there's like a thing that everybody can do their own, and I'm not saying that's bad necessarily.
Right.
The problem is it's hard for people to get together into one common thing.
I feel like that might also contribute to some of the division, maybe with all like the debates and this side and that side. Would you say that that's the case too, or?
Yeah, I feel like the country is not as divisible as it's portrayed on the media, because like when you go and touch grass and see people.
That's true, yes.
But generally, this country could be more unified, but it has to come within people.
There is a concept that I'll introduce to you because I like to share it with people once in a while, and you seem very open-minded and like nuanced, and you're looking at everything. And you're talking about community, and then you're talking about the individual, and it can seem hard to like unify the two. So there's this idea called like voluntarism, which is that, you know, whatever you think, just don't impose it on another using violence. Like basically just live in a consensual world where people come together, they volunteer, or, you know, everything is voluntary. So there's no violence implied. So like if a government wants someone to be healthy, they're not going to say, well, this is a mandate, this is something that needs to happen. So what do you think of that idea as a potential unifying idea? Because it doesn't tell people what to do.
I agree. I feel like imposing things is going to make people do the opposite. Because think about like adolescents. Like you tell them, you know, oh, you have to do this thing. What they're going to do? Exactly the opposite. So I feel like for people it works the same. Like if you say, oh, we should do this, I feel people might be willingly to do it. But if you tell them you do this, otherwise you're going to be punished, they're not going to want to do it anymore, you know? So
yeah, wow.
I agree that like there's an incentive if, you know, do things like you say voluntarily without any imposement. With imposement, it has to do if somebody's committing a crime. Obviously, like if you steal, you have to pay for it. So,
of course, yes.
But yeah,
I should have added that as the disclaimer. It's like voluntary as long as you're not harming other people, but then it's not voluntary by definition. But yeah, absolutely. And that's, you know, very nuanced. I love your perspective on it. Very big picture minded. Is there anything else you want to share with the world?
Every act of kindness has a big impact. Even if you just smile to people, you don't know how their day was doing, and maybe that right moment is all they needed to improve their day.
Wow, thank you so much. You're awesome. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Very cool. Thank you. It's really just about creating the conversation.
No, and that's beautiful because there's so many things that people just take for granted and we don't know about. Like you said, like homeschooling, I didn't know about that. That doesn't exist pretty much anywhere outside of the US. So,
yeah, and isn't it interesting because it's like it was created as an alternative to the like centralized government schooling here, but yet we are considered a free country. So it's like interesting because we're using our freedom in this case to create the independent school, but it's because of not having freedom despite being in a freedom country that we created it. So it's a very interesting idea, but it's amazing that these ideas are all on the rise because people want to take more responsibility over their own health, over their own life. And I appreciate you, because just by you thinking for yourself and answering these questions, which a lot of people may just say, I don't know, or don't really have an answer for, it shows that you do think about these things, and you have a sense of self-ownership or responsibility. So very cool.
Yeah, so guys, I mean, this has been Ahmed and Corey, civil offense, fuel and function, and nature is the answer. Had a good time talking with people at USF.
We did a live stream. We did it with recordings.
Yeah.
But it was fun. It was awesome. So thank you everybody for watching. Take care.
See you.